Play on, play it. Play on.
It's going down, fade to Blackstreet, the homies got.
There is a particular kind of quiet that follows a voice that once filled every room. Not the silence of failure, not the silence of forgetting. The silence that falls after something beautiful has said everything it needed to say and then, without warning, simply stopped. The 90s gave us groups like we had never seen before. Not just singers, not just harmonies, but families. Brothers who grew up in the same pews, sisters who finished each other's runs, strangers who became something sacred in the studio.
Who could stop with Dre making moves, attracting honeys like a magnet?
They gave us the soundtrack to First Love, to Heartbreak, to Friday nights that lasted until Sunday morning. And then, one by one, they went quiet. Some slowly, some suddenly. Some left holes so wide you can still feel the draft when their music comes on shuffle. This is not a eulogy. These are not ghosts. But some of them got very close to disappearing. Some of them lost members the way you lose sleep. Gradually and then all at once. Some of them went to war with each other over money, over glory, over who was allowed to stand in the light longest. Some of them simply ran into a world that had moved on without asking permission. Welcome to Soul Letters. Tonight, we go back to find them. Not to mourn what ended, but to honor what they built while they were here. If you're somewhere you love, stay right where you are. And if you've never listened before, welcome in. You can subscribe while the music plays. It keeps the candle burning. Number 10, Silk, Freak Me. They grew up singing in church. 5 boys from Atlanta who practiced their harmonies in a McDonald's after closing time. Voices bouncing off tiled walls at midnight, dreaming out loud. Keith Sweat found them, signed them, and co-wrote a song they never thought anyone would actually play on the radio. They were wrong. In 1993, Freak Me hit #1 on both the pop and R&B charts, and suddenly those 5 church boys were the most talked about group in the country. But the problem with arriving that fast is the distance you have to fall. Freak Me became a ceiling as much as a door. Everything after it was measured against it, and almost nothing could match it, though they kept trying.
Baby, don't you understand?
They released Tonight in 1999, and If You was a genuine smash, proof they still had something real to offer. Then Elektra dropped them.
Then you will know just what I mean.
Then Lil G stepped away, and the group that once seemed unstoppable found itself playing smaller stages for a world that had moved on.
I love the taste of whipped cream.
The honest truth is that Silk never fully broke. They kept recording, kept performing, stayed together through decades when most groups scattered.
You know I can't resist you, girl.
They still had every original member well into the 2010s, something almost no other group from their era could claim. But the mainstream never welcomed them back the way they deserved. 5 men who sang from the soul, who built something genuine, and got remembered mostly for a song they didn't even think was good enough to release. There is something quietly heroic about staying. When the crowd thinned and the calls stopped coming, they stayed anyway. Number 9, H-Town, Knockin' the Boots. Dino had a voice that sounded like he had already lived 3 lives before he opened his mouth. He was 20 years old when Knockin' the Boots hit #1 on the R&B charts in 1993, and there was something in his delivery, raw, unguarded, almost confessional, that made you feel like you were hearing something you were not supposed to hear. He and his twin brother Shazam and their friend G.I. formed H-Town in Houston, and they brought a heat to R&B that was distinctly Southern, distinctly theirs. They never quite replicated that opening thunder. The follow-up albums went gold but not platinum. The industry moved on before they could find their footing again. And then, In 2003, a sport utility vehicle ran a red light and collided with Dino's car. He was killed, along with his girlfriend. He was 31 years old. Shazam later said they were lost after it happened. Just Lost, a group built around a twin's voice, trying to figure out how to keep going without the other half of everything. Shazam and G.I. did keep going. They still perform today as H-Town, carrying Dino's memory with them on every stage. There is no replacing a twin. There is only deciding to walk forward anyway, carrying the weight of what was, and singing as if he is still in the room, because in the music, he still is. Number 8, 702, Where My Girls At. They were teenage girls from Las Vegas who named their group after their area code, and that simplicity was the whole point. They were from somewhere real, and they wanted you to know it. Their voices were warm and lived in, and when they sang together, there was a trust between them that you could feel like a second melody running underneath the first. Where My Girls At became one of the defining anthems of 1999, not just a pop moment, but a declaration. They went quiet in the mid-2000s. Lineup changes, the industry's indifference, the usual erosion. But what happened to 702 afterward carries a particular weight. Orish Grinstead, Irish's twin sister who had provided background vocals for the group, passed away in 2008 at 27 years old from kidney failure. Then in September 2023, Irish herself passed away at 43. After a long battle with illness. Her sister Lamisha announced it gently and devastatingly. Camila Williams posted that it was hard to acknowledge something her heart had not yet accepted. Missy Elliott, who co-wrote their biggest song, said simply that she was praying for the entire Grinstead family. Some losses don't land as clean statistics. They land as absences and harmonies. 3 voices that once fit together perfectly, now incomplete in ways that can never be repaired. Where My Girls At was once a question. Now, for them, it is an answer no one wanted. Number 7, Brownstone, If You Love Me. They got the deal the way every singer secretly dreams of, an a cappella audition that stopped people in their tracks. Nietzsche, Mimi, and Maxi walked into a room, opened their mouths without any music underneath them, and Michael Jackson's label signed them on the spot. That kind of beginning carries its own mythology, and from the bottom up, their 1995 debut deserved every accolade it received. If You Love Me was nominated for a Grammy. The harmonies were enormous, the kind that made you feel like 3 voices had somehow become something larger than the sum of their parts. But inside the warmth, there were fractures. Mimi left during a tour. Lineup changes followed. Their second album, Still Climbing, arrived in 1997, and the industry had already begun to lose interest. By 1998, Brownstone was done. Not with a dramatic announcement, but with the slow quiet of a label that had moved on, and a group that could not hold its original shape against the pressure. Then, in February 2015, Maxi died at 46 years old, an accident at her home in Los Angeles. Founding member, original voice, gone. Nietzsche has kept the Brownstone name alive through the years, with new members, new singles, a comeback slowly being built. There is courage in that, and there is grief in it too. Whatever version of Brownstone exists now, It exists inside the shadow of what those three original voices made together. A sound that was nominated for the highest award in music. That is not a small thing to carry forward. Number 6. Total, Kissin' You. They were sitting in an elevator at the Hit Factory in New York when they met Puffy. They sang for him right there in that elevator. Unrehearsed, no music, no warning. They could work together no matter what. They said yes. That was the beginning of Total. Kima, Keisha, and Pam, one of the first acts signed to Bad Boy Records, long before it became an empire. Gentle in a way the rest of the label was not. It floated rather than demanded. But Total also appeared on Notorious B.I.G.'s debut single, Juicy, their voices riding underneath one of the greatest hip-hop records ever made, carrying their own kind of quiet dignity, while Biggie built his legacy above them. They were always good at that, being essential to moments bigger than themselves, and somehow not getting enough credit for it. They disbanded quietly around 1999. Keisha married actor Omar Epps and built a life in California. Pam found gospel, or found a faith that asked different things of her. Kima held on longest to the music, waiting for a moment that felt right. Each of them remained sisters in the way that people who have been through something real together always remain sisters. Always in the same room, but never fully separate. They still loved each other, even in the silence. That much was always clear. Number 5, Jodeci, Forever My Lady. There was nothing like them before, and there has been nothing exactly like them since. They came out of North Carolina wearing Timberlands and leather before leather was everywhere, and they brought a rawness to R&B that made everything that came before them seem slightly overdressed.
So you're having my baby.
Kasai and JoJo were brothers. Devontae and Dalvin were brothers. 4 men, 2 sets of brothers. One sound that rearranged what Desire was allowed to sound like on the radio.
If there's any doubt in your mind.
They were enormous in the early 90s, and then they were chaos. The stories followed them: erratic behavior, missed shows, substances, feuds. By the mid-90s, they had gone from the hottest group in R&B to something harder to define. Casey and JoJo went solo and had genuine hits of their own, including All My Life, which spent 8 weeks at number 1. But the 4 of them, together, had been something more specific.
Can you picture my lady?
Something that could not be reassembled simply by wishing for it. They reunited in 2014. They made an album. They toured. The voices were older, but the fire between them was still there, if slightly banked. They joined the Culture Tour in 2022, sharing stages with New Edition and Charlie Wilson, and audiences roared for them in a way that told you exactly how much had been stored up in the waiting. Jodeci did not disappear. Jodeci imploded, reconstituted, and survived. That is its own kind of answer. Number 4, Xscape, Who Can I Run To? Jermaine Dupri signed them when they were teenagers and said he wanted to present them as the female version of Jodeci. You can hear that ambition in the first note Candy Burris ever sang in public with them. Something untamed underneath the polish. Something that knew exactly what it was and was not asking for permission. LaTocha, Tamika, Tiny, Candy. 4 women from Atlanta who turned hip-hop soul into something more personal, more insistent, more real. Who Can I Run To went to number 1. So did Just Kickin' It. They sold albums, and then, at the height of what they had built, something fractured. Internal tensions, creative differences. The difficulty of 4 strong personalities in one space trying to share the same destination. By the late 90s, Xscape had gone quiet in a way that felt unresolved. Candy went on to win a Grammy as a songwriter. Tiny became a television personality and built an empire. The other sisters continued in music and business. All of them survived. They reunited in 2017, and then again and again. They still perform. When they get on stage together, something in the audience releases. The way breath releases when you finally exhale something you have been holding a very long time. Xscape is not a nostalgia act. They are a reunion between four women who still have something to say to each other, and to everyone listening. Number 3, SWV, Weak. Their first name was TLC. They had to change it fast. They became SWV, Sisters with Voices, and that name turned out to be both modest and accurate. Coco, Taj, and Lele came out of the Bronx, out of church choirs and Bronx neighborhoods, and a demo tape that found its way to Teddy Riley. Their debut album in 1992 went triple platinum. Weak hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The remix of Right Here, built around Michael Jackson's Human Nature, became one of the most beloved R&B records of the decade. But by 1998, the unity was gone. As Coco later described it plainly and without drama, the label had begun to position her as the Diana Ross of the group, and that positioning cracked something between the three of them that would take years to repair. Coco made the final call to disband. She and Lele did not speak for a long time afterward. Lele, a mother of 2 from the beginning, struggled financially after the group ended. She worked accounting jobs to survive. Taj modeled, married a football player, built another life. Coco went to gospel and found something that asked less of her competitively and more of her spiritually. They reunited in 2005. They reunited again. They made 2 albums in the 2010s. By 2026, SWV had sold 45 million records worldwide. The number lands differently when you know about the years of silence that preceded it. 45 million people felt something real. That does not happen by accident. Number 2, Blackstreet, No Diggity. Teddy Riley had already changed R&B once. He helped invent new jack swing in the late 80s, shaped the sound of an entire generation, and then watched the decade move past him.
No diggity, no doubt.
So he built something new. He called it Blackstreet. And in 1996, with a Bill Withers sample underneath it and Dr. Dre on the hook, No Diggity became one of the biggest songs of the year.
Street, the homies got at me, collab creations, bump like agony.
Number 1 for 4 weeks, Grammy for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group. A record that still sounds like Friday Night Feels Like when everything is exactly right. But Blackstreet was never just a vehicle for a hit.
She don't play around, cover much ground.
They had before it. Before I Let You Go was a ballad that asked to be held on to. Don't Leave Me was devastation wrapped in harmony. They were a proper group, not a producer's side project, and the voices that surrounded Riley's vision were real and distinct and capable of far more than one song could contain.
She got tricks in the stash, stacking up the cash.
What came after was internal war. Chauncey Hannibal and Teddy Riley fell out in a way that courts got involved, and old friendships became old grievances. Riley formed Blackstreet 2 with new members. Chauncey carried the original name with a different lineup. Both versions toured. Neither was what the original 4 had been. The group that made No Diggity fractured into competing claims over a name, and the music that should have followed that peak never came.
That's my peeps, and we rose deep, flying first class from New York City.
There is something particularly painful about a group that breaks apart at the exact moment they had earned the right to do anything they wanted.
About me, now don't sing Cartier wooded frame. The people's on my block, I'm as real as can be. Word is born.
Blackstreet earned that right with one of the most recognizable opening bass lines in modern R&B history.
I'll be sending a call, let's say around 3:30.
And then the room they had built together became a room they could no longer share. Number 1, Dru Hill, In My Bed. They came out of Baltimore in 1996 with a sound that made everyone else stop and recalibrate. Cisco's voice could move from a whisper to something that felt like weather changing. The kind of range that belongs on a different conversation entirely from merely good singers.
Don't wanna walk around knowing
Nokio, Jazz, Woody, four men who were immediately spoken of in the same breath as Jodeci and Boyz II Men, who made Jermaine Dupri's So-So Def label into something it had not quite been before they arrived.
but deep in my heart, baby, I hope
In My Bed was slow and certain. These Are the Times was devastating in the best possible way. How Deep Is Your Love was the kind of song that made radio sound like it was built for them. Then Cisco went solo.
somebody's taking
Thong Song happened and the world tilted. He was enormous, and then, suddenly, not, the way pop fame often works, flooding everything, and then receding fast.
come home early.
Meanwhile, Dru Hill had gone quiet. Jazz left. Lineup changes arrived. The group continued performing, but with the particular ache of something that was not quite what it had been.
Somebody's sleeping in my bed.
They kept coming back. Cisco kept returning. By the time they joined the Summer Block Party Tour in 2023 with SWV and Jodeci, the four original members were performing together again.
Girl, I want you to know, yeah.
And whatever had fractured over 20 years had become something the audience could hold alongside their history. There is a Dru Hill song for almost every human feeling. That is the measure of a great group. Not whether they stayed together, but whether they were together long enough to leave something behind that lives without them. They gave Baltimore to the world.
Now don't try to tell me.
They gave us harmonies that knew how to hold grief and want and joy in the same four-part breath.
Gotta let you know. Yes,
And they gave us the particular kind of beauty that only comes from four people who genuinely needed each other to make the thing they made. That is not a small gift.